Howdy, Lionel. Welcome in. Welcome back.
Thank you.
What'd you like to talk about tonight?
Um, I guess what's on my mind is my daughter, we have two daughters. We have a 2-year-old, she's 2.5, and a 6-month old. Uh, the older one, she is show. My wife's more concerned about it than I am, but she's delayed in certain areas like her speech and some motor functions as well. Um, and so it's something that's been stressing out my wife. And I don't know, I guess for myself, it hasn't worried me. Um,
Tell me more.
yeah, I haven't been as concerned about it. So I'm bilingual. Spanish is my first language, and so I try to speak as much as I can to my daughter in Spanish. So there's that aspect where her language might be delayed because she's learning two languages at once, you know. Um,
You're afraid.
uh, I don't know that maybe I'm a little bit more afraid right now. My wife has been more afraid. Um, and just afraid that she would be delayed more than normal, I guess. And so we had her assessed for some maybe some speech delays, but then they referred us to a physical therapist who was going to evaluate her motor skills, and so she had that assessment tonight, and they forewarned us that the physical therapist that we were referred to is not very warm. Uh, and So I guess I'm just sad and I'm kind of upset that I wasn't there with my wife. Um, because go ahead.
So you're trying to find your daughter the help she needs.
Yeah, or we're trying to find out if she needs help. One, if maybe we're uh, overreacting a bit, or if we are, uh, I guess we're just trying to be proactive, you
Sure,
know.
sure.
Um, and I would say my wife is trying to be proactive, and I'm trying to be supportive because, like I said, up to this point, I haven't really been worried. Um, and so I went to the meeting with them last week. Uh, I was able to make it for her speech assessment, but I wasn't able to make the physical therapist appointment today. And I almost regret uh, asking for it to be postponed to when I could make it, just so I can be there to support my wife
Sure.
because um, she sent me a message afterwards and wanted to see if I was available to talk, but I wasn't available. And um, I guess I'm just sad that I wasn't there to support her emotionally. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're concerned and a bit regretful for feeling as if you missed out.
Yeah, I guess like both missing out, but there's a part of me inside that's like, so she communicated to me a few things that this physical therapist said, and I'm not doubting her area of expertise, but just the way that they were said, um, is what upset me, and I wish that I could have been there to kind of, um, I don't think I would have been combative or anything, but to like step in for my wife or at least
Sure.
defend and ask for clarity rather than her using these big terms. And my wife's the type of person that um, she doesn't want to stir up any conflict or anything, so she wouldn't ask for clarity. Does that make sense?
That's understandable. Yeah,
Yeah, and uh, yeah, I just think it's everyone's different, but when it comes to people's kids, they can be very sensitive and
sure.
take things more harshly than other things, and so I just wish that I would have been there for her and for my daughter. Yeah.
You're mad more so at the health professional.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know who they are, but yeah, I'm kind of mad at the way that they communicated things.
Sure.
Um,
So I hear you express these concerns for missing his appointments. And to me, what I hear is that's expressing concern. It shows me that you care even more the fact that you're afraid that you're missing out on even one appointment.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm trying to make with our first daughter, it was a little bit easier, but I made it like all her doctor's appointments, everything. Been a little bit harder with our second one. Um, but I try to be there for all her appointments and for everything. Um,
Sounds like there might be some guilt.
yeah, yeah. Um, I think last time, I talked to you about the guilt that's associated with me being in school and the time that it takes up, and uh, how that extra load then falls on my wife. Um, so it's a load that's physical, right? Because she's the one um, feeding, bathing, putting the girls to bed, but also emotional. Um, whether it's lacking emotion because I'm there, not there um, to provide emotional support and be there for my spouse how I would want to, or um, in times like this where someone's laying kind of some things on her about her daughter and she's not feeling heavy and I'm not there for her. Does that make sense?
It does. So I hear your concerns again, and I think this shows your investment in your family. As opposed to otherwise.
Yeah, yeah,
I hear some possible fear of not living up to your own standard.
yeah. That's a good identification. Um, I want to be as supportive and caring uh, as I possibly can. And due to life circumstances, that's sometimes harder than other times. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me more.
Well, like I've shared with you, I'm in this master's program, and uh, you still have to provide financially for your family. So that means working full time, and that means, heck, with working full time, your work doesn't just stop there. It's like you got class in the evenings, work for your classes, um, and so it's a lot of time. It's a big time commitment, both. It's like one is necessary for the present to provide financially, and the other one's necessary for the future to help advance me to where I want to go. You know,
Sounds like that could be overwhelming.
yeah, to hold both of those because I don't want to stay in my current position. I don't want to stay where I'm at. So I need that for the present. I also need this other piece in order to help me get to where I want to go.
Sure.
Uh, so it's just, I guess, if I'm looking at it long term, it's a lot of work on the front end,
Right.
and I'm sure that there will be a lot of work that will continue on, but it just like I feel like long term, career wise, this feels like the front end, and it's like I have to put in a lot of work now to help me get to where I want to go.
Sure. Well, it sounds like you have a clear goal. You're determined to achieve that goal.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I I'm very motivated financially. Uh, but I think I'm motivated financially for what it can afford, and I don't mean things like materialistically. Uh, I mean, I think that time is our uh, most, it's the best, like most prized asset that you could have. Um, and I think having a stable financial life can buy you time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
You value time with your family more than
yeah, yeah,
money, but money is what gives you the time.
is the tool that will help me get there. Yeah. So although things are tighter right now because I'm working full time and going to school, it's like this is helping me propel to what I want. to do, which I'm hoping will provide more financial freedom, which I'm hoping will then be a tool used to provide me with more time for my family.
Sure. It's that double-edged sword you mentioned.
Yeah, man. Yeah, very much so, a double-edged sword. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's luxuries and things uh, that money could afford my family that I'm looking forward to. But as I get older, a lot of those luxuries are in the form of experiences rather than material things.
You got a connection.
Yeah, I mean, I want a Tesla one day. Don't get me wrong. I do want that, but I've identified that I care more about experiences and making memories with my family than buying a bigger, better home or car, whatever it might be, whatever status symbol or for whatever reason, whatever material thing. I want the financial freedom so that I can go on vacations, which takes time. So the financial piece would provide the time for that, but also provide the means to be able to go on vacation and create memories and provide experiences for my daughters that I never had.
Your priorities are changing.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very much so. I remember growing up, I was very materialistic. And I think partly because I didn't have a whole lot. And so
Well, tell me more.
I don't want to give you a false representation. It's not like we were dirt poor, but in relation to my peers, uh, I grew up in like a middle class area, maybe upper middle class for my peers. We were maybe more middle class, but things always felt tight. And so I gravitated to material things to give me a sense of satisfaction. Like I had something, something tangible, something that I could maybe show off or made me feel cool, you know. And yeah, as I've gotten married and had kids, and yeah, my priorities have shifted. And it's like I don't care about what's in my closet as much as I used to. What I care about is like creating experiences.
Sure. Sounds like you're doing some self-examination.
Yeah,
Identified your values and how they change.
yeah, I think I've started that process at least, you know. Like my birthday's coming up and I'm entering a new decade, and so my wife is like, "What do you want for your birthday?" Right? And none, I can't think of anything material wise that I want. I want an experience. I want to go have a nice dinner with my family. Um, I want to go do something with just my wife. That's what I want.
You value that connection.
Mhm. Yeah, I think when I'm 80 years old, I would rather look back and be like, "Oh, I remember that 30th birthday and that memory I shared with my wife and with my daughters, that dinner that we had or whatever, will be so much more meaningful than fill in the blank, whatever material thing you could buy me that, you know."
Yeah. Sense. Glad.
Yeah, I'm glad that I've identified that um, at a relatively young age, I guess, you know.
Sure.
I would hate to have gone years more into my life without having identified that and spending resources on things that actually didn't fill me up, that didn't matter, you know.
Sounds like, again, you value authenticity and connection rather than material.
Hmm.
It's been a shift for you, it sounds like, from your childhood.
Yeah, a big shift. Big shift. I used to collect sneakers. I used to be a shoe collector.
Uh,
So as soon as I could get a job, I got a job. And all my paycheck went to buying shoes. I used to camp out for shoes. Uh, so back in the day, like uh, Jordans are what I collected. You know, back in the day, like you would camp out outside the mall the night before, wait for Foot Locker to open in the morning, uh, and hope that they had enough pairs and that's what I would do, and that's what my money went to, and it gave me a sense of satisfaction. I thought it made me feel cool, whatever it was, and I still have a lot of them. They're in the closet. I don't like, to be frank, I don't give a shit about them. Yeah,
Well, despite that material desire, it still sounds like you value hard work.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good point. I did have to work hard. Like I said, as soon as I could get a job, I got one, and I've worked ever since. And so, yeah, I worked hard for. I had a sense of working hard for. I guess I've always had something that I'm chasing. Like this is what I value, and that's what I want. And my work is a means to help me to get there.
You're goal oriented.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. But now, as my life is progressing, I am, like you said, I'm glad that I have identified what I actually care about, what actually brings me joy and fulfillment. So then I can maintain that goal orientation and I can maintain that hard work, but now that goal is shifted, and so I could use my work to help me attain those. Yeah.
All right. Tell me more about that.
I guess I'm also excited for having found a profession um, that I'm excited about and that I enjoy because um, it almost seems like the best of both worlds. I enjoy my work, and my work is also providing me and helping me get to a point um, to where I can achieve or attain what I truly value in life.
So I found myself wondering what happens when you're not able to achieve your goals.
It's a good question. Something that I worry about. So I've asked that. Maybe not in the same exact way, but I have worried about that or I have thought that.
Double-edged sword.
I guess get back up
Sure.
because along with that hard work, I've yeah, up to this point in my life, I've fallen on my face a lot, but I haven't stayed down.
So sounds like you have achieved most of your goals that you set out to do.
I guess it depends how you look at it. I feel like I've failed a lot,
Sure.
um, but through those failures, I've learned a lot, and they like one of my biggest career failures. Had that not happened, I don't know that I would be here.
Oh, tell me more.
I took a pretty big career leap, uh, and it didn't work out. And there's still moments that I'm like, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I feel like a fool for doing that. But the other side of that coin is, had I not done that, I wouldn't I wouldn't be pursuing the profession that I am now.
That previous career didn't align with your values.
Yeah, I don't know that it did. I think I tried to make it. It's almost like you're trying to force something,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't fit or it's not. Uh, and I think partly you're right because even being in that profession, I saw people that were older than me who had been in that profession a long time, and their lives were not what I wanted. Divorced, maybe multiple divorces, strained relationships with their kids. They had financial They were well off financially, but their personal life, it's not what I want.
Sure. All right, well, so Lionel, today we discussed your values, your goals, how they're evolving as you're getting older. And I'm hearing a lot of self-exploration, trying to figure out what your values actually are. And I'm hearing a lot of love and dedication to your family as well. And I'd like to continue talking about all these points next week, if you're okay with it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
Thank you.
be safe.